basement. Level vibes with another one. Straight up. Blackness, aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth?
Good morning. See the madness for you guys.
Guyana really nice. Guyana, it's a nice place.
Right across Guyana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're going to be illegal. Say to them, you're illegal. Free up the country, you're undemocratic. They're going to face a different situation right across the country.
When they come to the communities, whether it is in Berbice or Essecubo or in Linden or in South Georgetown or Agricola or in Ennore or Port Morant, the people of Guyana should treat them as illegal. I said they should walk behind them, chase them out of your communities, because it means they've been squatting in power.
All right, hey, it's Sunday, right? But we can't go to sleep with those individuals who are ruining Guyana. Thank you so much. Thank you. Share the link, and let's just get ready to take these people to task. In a couple of minutes, maybe in 30 seconds or so, guess who is going to be speaking at Babu John, right? These people are not concerned about the folks. They're not concerned about their support base. They're not concerned about Chetty Jagan's legacy. And let me just correct something. Chetty Jagan is not the founder of the PPP. They're co-founders of the PPP, of which Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham is also a co-founder of the PPP. Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. Okay, so we are going to go live shortly. We'll be right back. Spread the word that we're on live this Sunday afternoon, 43 minutes after 2.
Right across Guyana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're going to be illegal. Say to them, you're illegal. Free up the country, you're undemocratic. They're going to face a different situation right across the country.
When they come to the communities, whether it is in Berbice or Essecubo or in Linden or in South Georgetown or Agricola or in Ennore or Port Morant, the people of Guyana should treat them.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
All right, we're definitely going to go directly. We're going to go to Babu John right now so you guys can hear the live.
Guyana. She left her life for comfort and stood beside Guyana, all of Guyana. She gave her life. She sacrificed. She went through pain and suffering, and she stood beside Guyana. And at the time when Guyana should have stood with her, there were some who said she was too white to stand with her. The very thing that she, Comrade Janet and Chetty fought against, the oppression of one people over the next, they used it. This very group used it. This very group that continues today to only weaponize this one asset that we have. The one great asset is our diversity as a people. It is not a negative. Our diversity is a great asset to us. But there are those who cannot help themselves but weaponizing this asset. I say, and the General Secretary is the one who speaks on behalf of the People's Progressive Party. But yes, today I say that no weapon formed in the clothing of racism will succeed once this People's Progressive Party is alive. And we don't intend to die. We will stay alive. We will disband.
Right off the bat, he starts off with lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. This is what it's about, the lies, and we must be able to counter the lies. He came out of the paddock, he came out of wherever they had him staged, and talking about the lies and these group of people. Note, this is a guy who's talking about unity, but yet he's addressing people, and we know who he's addressing when he says these group of people. Babu Jan has never been so thin in terms of numbers. It has never. It shows that people are moving away from the PPP. They know that these vagabonds have hijacked whatever Chetty Jagan stood for. But this is what's happening. So he rushed out of there, and this is how he started, right off the bat.
Secretary who is leading the People's Progressive Party. And he's a product of the People's Progressive Party. But Comrade Chetty taught us, you know, sometimes I listen and I get upset because Comrade Chetty lived for the working class. But he did not live to see the working class remain working class or remain in poverty. He lived up.
This is a guy who's talking about Chetty's legacy and living for the working class. Do you know his reputation when he was Minister of Housing? Do you know how he treated ordinary folks who went there to fill out an application for a house lot and all these manner of things? Does he? And right now we know that Chetty is probably turning in his grave. Look at this here. This is a guy who's talking about the working class. The working class. We can talk about Chetty's humbleness and so forth, which is we already know. But look at this guy. As soon as he became a minister of housing, look at what he got. Look at this semi-mansion. Look at his pool house. And these are the people are talking about working class. They can talk about Chetty, but they can't talk about themselves. They don't believe in the working class. Look at them. Check out their bank account. Check out the lands that they own all over the places. Chetty should just crawl out of his grave right now and choke these guys. Choke them in whatever way. Here are the lies.
All the ministers and all those who served alongside him. I ask you to give them a resounding round of applause for the support they would have given him.
Look.
Today, I count myself very fortunate to be leading a team of highly motivated individuals, and to have in that team our General Secretary and former President, and to have a partner as Prime Minister that I would say is a significant contributor to the development of our political system in our country today. Comrade Mark, please give them a big round of applause. So, my dear friends, as I looked into that mirror, I saw when Dr. Jagan came back to government, and when we left government in 2014, I saw in that mirror minimum wage in this country increased by 1,577%.
Lie,
That is
lie,
the legacy
lie,
of Dr.
lie.
Jagan and the People's
minimum
Progressive
wage
Party.
increased under the coalition.
When I looked into that mirror,
Oh, gosh.
I saw between 1993 and 1995 minimum wages increasing by 100%. When I look into that mirror between 1991
This is
and
what you saw when you looked
2014,
into the mirror.
I saw external debt reducing by 50%. When I looked into that mirror between 1991 and 2014, I saw a debt to GDP ratio moving from 677% to 34%. That is the legacy that we celebrate. That is the legacy. When I look into that mirror, I see infant mortality for every 1,000 babies that were born between 1991 and 2014, reducing by 47%. These are records that is publicly available. Why the doomsayers don't write about this? Why do they avoid these facts? Because they only have one intention, and that is political power.
Look, let's talk about the facts. Guyana, the poorest nation under the PPP. Unemployment high under the PPP. GPL went down the drain under the PPP. The GT&T monopolized to this day. Majority of the country can't get telephone services. We can go on and on. The roads, deplorable conditions under the PPP, corruption on the rise under the PPP. The money laundering bill could not have been passed under the PPP. Thousands upon thousands of people left the country as a result of the PPP. Corruption galore. The drug lords reign under the PPP. Phantom squads, killing squads, death squads, you name it, all under the PPPC regime. We want to hear about that. Stop with the propaganda. People are not dotish. People are not stupid. People know what is going on. People know about the propaganda. People know about the thievery and the corruption and the all sort of things that went on under the PPP when Chetty Jagan died. They know of the corrupt individuals. They know of the fraudsters. Talk about the 19 fraud charges. Talk about where you got your first or second degree from some university at IFLOT. Talk about the fact that you were banned from entering Canada. You were blocked from entering Canada. To this day, you say that you were going to talk about it. Talk about allegations of high level of corruption by, as what Sue said about Jack Dale and what people know. Talk about those things. Don't come here talking about when you look into the mirror, because when you look into the mirror, we understand what you see in that mirror. Don't lie to the people. The people at Babujan, they know better. Chetty must be crying in his grave right now. When he, Irfan Ali, looks into the mirror, this is exactly what he sees.
The mirror was speaking to me, and the mirror said, between 2015 and 2019, I saw sugar production declining by $21 billion. These guys closed the sugar estate.
Lies, 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 lies. They, sugar estates started to close under the PPP regime. They were ashamed to say that. They were lying to sugar workers. They were lying to people throughout the country. $200 million wasted on the Skeldon estate. Look at IFLOT estate, reduced. Look at Wales sugar factory or estate. I was there when the sugar workers were protesting. They weren't being paid. They were insulted. Look at Enmore estate. Talk about these things. Stop lying to the people. Where is the opposition? Where is the shadow minister of agriculture? Put these things out there. Counter these vagabonds. Don't let them get away with these things, guys. Lies upon lies. The sugar industry was in intensive care unit when the coalition got into office. The coalition had to use billions of taxpayers' money to bail out and keep bailing out the sugar industry, an industry that died under the PPPC regime. These, look into the mirror and we know exactly what you see.
Dollars. The country lost 283 million US dollars in foreign currency earning in those 5 years. And then the mirror said to me, that was not the only damage they inflicted on the backs of the Guyanese. The mirror reminded me that in this 5 years, these very people introduced more than 200 new taxes on the people of this country.
Lies. What the mayor should tell him is that it is the same corrupt, racist PPP regime that introduced 16% VAT on the people of Guyana. 16% VAT on the people. And it was the coalition that reduced that value-added tax on the entire nation. And they have actually reduced that burden that people had to carry as a result of those corrupt individuals in the PPP regime. These corrupt individuals that doesn't care, about the working class people of Guyana. Yet this Lagu Bagu stands there at Babu Jan and telling people about the mirror when he looks into the mirror. He's looking into the wrong mirror. The wrong mirror he's looking into. Let's hear again, man.
1 second telling you what is this. Private consumption in those 5 years reduced by $77 billion. What that means is that people did not have money to spend. That is why shops were closing, markets were closing. $77 billion.
People, we had to actually, the coalition had to repair that country. And they took over a damaged country. And let's look into the mirror. They took over a damaged country from the PPP, the corrupt PPP regime. And as Dr. Clive Thomas wrote in the Stabrook News, that it was basically a drug enterprise. The country was run with underground drug money, a drug economy. And because the coalition, for the most part, plugged up and block those sort of money launderers and so forth and drug lords existing under the PPP regime. Of course, the cash flow had to reduce, and therefore the coalition had to take a different path, an honest path, so that Guyanese can survive. And so the lies upon lies by these people, it has no boundaries, none whatsoever.
Policies we pursue must be reflective of the core values and principles. Go back to the manifesto of 1992. It spoke about food security, universal education, health, public infrastructure.
This guy can't talk about health. How many of you have been following and saw that the health system broke down, so to speak, under the PPP regime? It died. Port Morant, right there where they're at right now. Babu Jan, a stone throw away from Babu Jan, where they're standing facing the gravesides of Teddy Jagan and his wife Janet, facing the graveside. As they look towards, it will be towards their right side. A stone throw away is Port Morant. Port Morant Hospital, run down under the PPPC regime. The health center run down under the PPPC regime. The roads, back roadside streets run down under the PPPC regime. Let's not talk about those fishermen and fisherwomen from Port Morant and surrounding areas, Babu Jan and so forth, over to, where is it? Letterkenny, Bloomfield, coming back this way, it will be Tain and those areas, Belvedere, Hampshire, and so forth. Fishermen couldn't go out and do their jobs under the PPPC regime because they didn't give a damn about piracy. They didn't give a damn about the lives of the very people who they're trying to talk to right there and lying about. Look, talk about that. Under the PPP regime now, we're not talking about 91 and 92 in an attempt to brainwash the people in whatever goddamn mirror this Lagu Bagu is watching. This is recently. Hear what this crab man has to say about now.
Pressure boss pipe. Pressure boss pipe, boy. Umaninza Guyana de underwater. Oh, the wrong. Sorry. Umaninza Guyana de under pressure. Walk. Bangamere is $400 pong. Trout $400 pong.
The PPPC regime right now. Crabman is talking about that. But let's head back to Babujan and hear what this man in the mirror is talking about. He suddenly has a mirror, right?
When we help the private sector to become prosperous, we are delivering on the legacy of Dr. Chedi Jagan.
Lies, lies, lies.
Because a private sector that is dead is an economy that is dead. A private sector that cannot produce and grow is an economy that is static. And
let me tell you guys who the private sector folks are. The private sector folks are PPP stooges. Some of them are corrupt so-called businessmen. Some of them are money launderers. Some of them are drug lords and so forth and so on. And these people are just about themselves to suck whatever they can from the blood of the Guyanese taxpayers. During the COVID pandemic, hundreds of millions of dollars of concessions they have given to their friends and cronies in the private sector. And this is what this guy is saying that Chedi Jagan would appreciate. This is what this guy is saying that Chedi Jagan would embrace. Give me a damn break. The lies, the lies, the lies.
that the bowling changed the game. And in 2020, with the love of the people, the People's Progressive Party Civic was returned to government. And the mirror said to me that in 1 month, upon returning to government, the PPP removed the 200+ taxes that was inflicted on the people of this country and delivered back in the pockets of the people $31.4 billion, or $180,000 for every family in Guyana. That is what we did.
Lies, lies, lies. The bunch of people who benefit. Hold on. The mirror is telling me that this guy, let's look into the mirror too. The mirror is telling me that this guy is lying, lying, lying. I've noticed Francine Cruz is saying, Ali lie, this is the month of Ramadan. Lying and lying and lying and lying. What mirror is this guy looking into? They got into office through illegal means. The elections were rigged. He was installed. There's no democracy right now, or no democratically elected government in Guyana. Let's face reality. He has gotten into office by virtue of fraud. Maybe that's the same way he got his degrees. We don't know. Other than what we can talk about is the IFLAT University that doesn't exist. And then we can talk about the 19 fraud charges. And all these, are these things that Chedi Jagan would be proud of? I doubt that. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most lying of them all?
Hey, the voices of those who stayed silent has arisen once more. And we say we are happy because we are the defenders of democracy. We are the builders of democracy. We are the molders of a free society. And this is what democracy is. When you are not afraid of democracy. And don't take that. Do not take that. My dear friends, I saw a banner that the Vice President sent to me that said, all are not involved in the One Guyana, the APNU AFC banner. Let me explain something to you. For these people, One Guyana would have meant being allowed to steal the elections and rig the elections and get to office and get to power through rigging and stealing and derailing democracy. If they were allowed in 2020 to have their way in stealing and rigging and destroying democracy, that would have been One Guyana for them. Because that is all they're interested in, the power. But for us, one democracy is about serving.
Forget about this guy. His mirror is a damaged mirror. His mirror is a lying mirror. His mirror is a convenient mirror. But let's look through the real mirror. The 2020 elections, what we are seeing is the evidence pointing in the direction that it is the PPP that's actually rigged the elections. But they don't want to tell people that. His mirror is not going to tell him that at all, right? And so let's look at the facts. 61 dead voters accepted, 4,864 absent voters, 150 stuffed ballot boxes, 47 ballot boxes without documents, 1,278 missing oaths of identity. And I'll show you guys something shortly. I'll show you guys something. Let's head back to hear what he's talking about. But I'll show you guys something shortly.
I would not leave this stage without publicly recognizing and acknowledging the strong leadership of our General Secretary, Dr. Barry Jagdeo. We are a stronger party today because of his leadership. I spent every single day without exception, whether it's holiday or Sunday, for 5 years alongside him in opposition.
We have no time for to waste on that sort of introduction. But let me show you guys this here. This is a thick documents. Documents are a thick book outlining all of the corruption at every level in every region. And so this guy, Irfan Ali, has none whatsoever authority to speak of rigged elections. Look at this. I think Lincoln Lewis reminded us. What electoral democracy? 47 ballot boxes without statutory documents? Electoral malpractices? Only the lawless applauds the lawlessness. And this is what is happening right now. The mirror that this guy is looking into, only God knows what mirror he's looking into. I'm looking quickly at some of your comments there because I know you guys are laughing at this puppet. You guys are laughing at this individual who was installed. If someone drives around Babu Jan right now, if you go between Tain and you go between Port Morant as you pass Port Morant Hospital, you take a photograph. Take a photograph as to what's happening. Take a photograph as to what is happening. The people are not, it's not, the numbers that you guys are seeing there, it's not the numbers that you're accustomed seeing many years ago. People don't want to go and listen to these liars talking about what they are seeing in the mirror. Most of those people there, if you go right now on the roadside and even going into Babu Jan, all the way down to where Chetty's grave is, you will see the amount of buses out there, big buses, cane cutter trucks and so forth, where people were forced. People were actually threatened that they had to jump in those cane cutter trucks, the buses, and go down to make up the numbers. You guys, if you think I'm kidding, let some one of your friends just take a photograph out there in Babu Jan.
I end finally by saying, and I'm surprised that I have all of this energy even fasting. I end Comrade General Secretary, leaders of the PPP, the family of Comrade Chetty, all Guyanese, by saying one thing to you. No organization can remain static and survive. Organizations that are successful are organizations that continuously reinvent themselves, are organizations that find ways to stay relevant, are organizations in which the leadership remains applicable to the circumstances. But organizations that are successful are those that remain strong in the founding.
Look, let me ask you guys this. What exactly he just said there? What exactly is this guy trying to say? Now, I see with you guys. And that's the same point I was just making there. GG73, whoever GG73 is, good afternoon. What is going on here? Who is this man? I don't understand what he's saying. I don't understand what he's saying either. Whatever he just said there doesn't make any sense. Nothing whatsoever. All he was just looking, the mirror, the mirror. He's talking to the mirror. Who in the mirror? Oh, shucks, look, they get Mark Phillips there, right? Mark Phillips, and they talking about unity. Look who they got on stage. Poor Mark Phillips. Poor Mark Phillips. And then they're talking about unity. Poor Mark Phillips. Sometimes I don't necessarily feel sorry. Look, they just walk this girl in until she go and sit down. And I'm sure that she's not even sure why she's there. But this person who is talking there talked about she born 1992. But yet she knows about the struggle prior to that. She starved in 1985 and 1980. But she born 1990. Y'all think these folks easy? Let's hear her.
No Secretary, Dr. Parachagnew.
Thank you. Thank you. Colleagues, friends, members of our party, may I, on behalf of the People's Progressive Party, thank all of you for being here today. The tradition that in the formation of the People's Progressive Party and its subsequent developments. But when we are here, we also have an opportunity to report to you on the struggles that the party is waging, the state of the party, and the policy making in our government. And so today, I want to speak about some of these issues.
But before we allow him to speak about some of those propaganda, those lies, let's remind you guys about this here now, right? We haven't forgotten about this.
Source. Okay, well, maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jerome?
So my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours. His father was here from many years. Of criticism by the PNC and the AFC. We recognize that they have nothing else to be proud of because they have a history of rigging elections. They have a history
of policies that have led this country to ruin. So we have nothing positive to report on. And that the only tool available to them is to divide our people.
Okay, so this is a cuss out time, right? He is saying that the AFC and the APNU or PNC, they have a history of rigging elections. Now let's break this down here. Mind you, I shouldn't be doing this. The guys at Congress Place should be doing this breaking down. But I agree with you guys, it's bottom house cuss time. If you move that podium that he's at, you remove it, you'll see that he's wearing a hot pink bikini right now. That's what he's wearing, because it's cuss dumb time. The one guy who spoke before him spoke about some mirror. And as I look into the mirror, when we look into the mirror, we know what he sees. We know exactly what he's seeing. But this guy here comes up now with a hot pink bikini to abuse out now. But he's talking about, and forgive the description, because it's Jack there we're talking about. You guys couldn't expect any better description than that. And so he comes here now, he's talking about the APNU, AFC, and the PNC rigged elections. Let me remind this Lagubagu that in 2006, it is the PPP who stole a seat from the AFC. From Region 10, they stole a seat. They deliberately stole a seat. And when confronted, this is what they said, that there's nothing that they can do now. The AFC can take it through the courts by virtue of an elections petition. Now let's go before 2006. The 1997 elections, there was an elections petition that took 4+ years before it concluded in the courts. And the judge then was Claudette Singh. Claudette Singh ruled against the PPP and vitiated the elections. Hence, in 2001 or 2001, they had to have had fresh elections March 2001. Now we're talking about rigged elections. We're talking about losing an elections petition, right? The PPP has lost an elections petition under Jack Dio's presidency. Then now let's move on now. 2006, they stole a seat from the AFC. And for 5 years, these shameless vagabonds allowed Sam Hines to squat in that stolen seat from the AFC in Region 10. Then in 2011, they attempted to steal another seat that would have given Donald Ramotar the majority. But because they got caught again attempting to steal a seat this time, they didn't get through. If they had gotten through, then Donald Ramotar would have held the majority in terms of the presidency. But because they got caught, there was a minority president, and Donald Ramotar couldn't function as a minority president. Hence, there was a no confidence motion leveled against him, and he prorogued parliament. And so we had the elections in 2015. And now let me say this again. This guy, none of them in the PPP have or has any moral authority to stand at any podium to talk about rigged elections. None of them. Talk about rigged elections? The 2020 elections was rigged, and rigged in favor of the PPP. Corruption galore. Why doesn't he say to the people right now at Babu Jan? Let him say to them right now, why is it that the PPP is afraid to put all of the SOPs at the table? Open up all of the SOPs. Let's see who rigged the elections. Allow the elections petitions to go ahead instead of blocking it every way. We know why. Because they don't want the world to see that they have rigged the elections. But I guess the world knows that, right? But some in the world are putting a blind eye over it because of the oil and the wealth and the billions of dollars. This Kunumunu has no moral authority to talk about rigged elections. This Kunumunu has no moral authority to talk about democracy and the working class people. Let's hear.
supposed to bring a few Indian votes over to the coalition. That's their only purpose in the party, not to promote a multi-ethnic and to respect people of every race and every faith as this party does, and to embrace them and include them. They saw them as outsiders. That party, that philosophy, the racism of the PNC will lead to their demise. And now
the racism of the PPP. Now, the PNC has their own problem, and they got to fix their problems. It's not to say that there isn't problem within the PNC. They got to fix their problems. But the PPP has no respect for black people. None whatsoever. They put these black folks there as puppets upon puppets. Mark Phillips is a puppet. Sam Blinds was a puppet, still is a puppet. The PPP has never had a black general secretary. The PPP has never really put forward a black person as their presidential candidate. Look at what is happening for all the years. Someone may have argued that Rohi was the general secretary. Rohi is basically a nobody, right? And so look at the history of the PPP, even though it was formed by a black guy, an African Guyanese, a co-founder, Forbes Burnham. Forbes Burnham is responsible for the PPP being formed. Himself and Chetty Jagan got on board, and all these manner of things. But they're not going to say that to their supporters at Babu Jan, you know. They're not going to say that. The truth of the matter is the PPP does not have respect for black people. And the black people within the PPP, they have no voice. So what he's attempting to do is to use reverse psychology and to point to the few who might have some issues with maybe the leadership right now of the PNC. The few. There are persons who are of African descent who have issues with the leadership, yes. Not just one ethnic group. But then again, this is not about who has issues with the PNC and the leadership. This is about you. What have you guys done? What have you guys done, Jack dear? Talk to the people about that. Don't use this by virtue of you having on your pink bikini right now, abusing out and cussing out. The only thing that you know to do is to abuse out and cuss out, but yet still talk about democracy and unity. The people don't want to hear about the PNC or a coalition or whatever. What have you done? Where is Sue? Have you been able to find Sue to address serious allegations of corruption? Allegations of corruption by you? Have you paid Annette Ferguson or 20 million as yet? Have you spoken about forming Pradoville 1 for not the working class, but for you folks? Have you spoken about Pradoville 2 and all these manner of things? Come on. Such a shameless vagabond.
Everything that this party stood for. They even denigrated and changed our track record of progress. They spoke about corruption as a massive campaign tool. And
okay, let's talk about the corruption. The Berbice River Bridge, corruption, where Jagdev took hundreds of millions of dollars from the people of NIS. Ran NIS down to the ground. Thank you, Lord, for having the coalition that got in there and rescued NIS, because Jagdev took hundreds of millions of dollars and give it to his friends and cronies to build the Berbice Passageway or Berbice River Bridge or Jagdev Passage Bridge or whatever. And you know what they did? They burdened the people of Region 6, Region 5, and others who may have used that bridge to cross. Almost $20,000 for a truck, $15,000 for an SUV, almost $7,000 to $8,000 for a minibus, $4,000 or $5,000 for a hire car. School children couldn't get to school, and all these manner of things. Let's talk about the burden that you guys have placed on the backs of the working class people, including majority of those people who are there right now at Babu Jan. We can talk about those things. Talk about the fact that you guys have killed the sugar industry. You guys have killed the rice industry. We're under the PPP. So many rice farmers had to protest from Berbice to Essequibo. They weren't being paid. And when they were paid, they were underpaid because cronies, the large rice farmers of the PPP, were taking advantage of the working class, the farmers, and so forth and so on. Talk about those things. Talk about the fisheries. Talk about what happened out there in Corriverton area, where one guy, a PPP guy, was controlling the fishery, and there are serious allegations that they were paying individuals to go out and rob ordinary working class people who were fishermen. Fishermen were afraid to go out and ply their trade under Jack Deer's presidency, under the PPP. But yet these lagu-bagus, these vagabonds, are brave enough to stand up and BS the people with their propaganda. Where is the opposition? I hope Kemraj and them would have a live program right after this to counter the lies of this vagabond.
To resign or make a public statement because this was a blatant lie. You don't hear them talk about this. But when we criticize it, they say, oh, Irfan Ali government is intolerant of criticism. They want us to stay quiet so they can distort our track record again.
What
not
track
again.
record?
It's not going to
What
happen.
track
And
record?
I want all of you.
What track record? This guy took 200+ million taxpayers' monies, gave it to his friends and cronies to invest in the Skeldon sugar factory. A white elephant. This guy took hundreds of millions of dollars to invest it for his friends and cronies with something called the fiber optic cable that ran from Brazil, the border out there from Letem, all the way through wherever it is, through Linden, all down the Linden-Soesdijk highway, and destroyed most parts of that highway. Jack Deere did that. A waste of money, your tax-paying dollars. Ask him whatever happened to the fiber optic cable. Ask him whatever happened to the sugar factory, the Skeldon sugar factory. Ask him about these things. Ask him about the hundreds of millions that he took and gave to his friends and cronies, including Body Shivraj, that he gave almost, close to $200+ million to open Buddy's International Hotel or something close to that. And as soon as he took taxpayers' money and gave it to his friends and cronies so that they can invest. This is a guy who stands there today to tell you guys that he cares and that this is a PPP regime that cares about the people, that cares about the working class people. Shame on Jack Deere. But then again, he has absolutely no shame.
Not the father of nation. The nation Burnham is. I asked them one question. How is it that a sitting prime minister was on the payroll of the CIA for 4 years after independence? Silence. Silence. So the second thing we are leaving here with today is that you have to struggle, you have to fight if you want to remain in power. In spite of all the positive things we do in this country, all the changes we're bringing to the people of this country, one man who has a Facebook page can distort that, and we have a lot of gullible people in this country. We have a group that's called themselves the Oil and Gas Party now. All these new parties are being formed, and saying that I welcome Mr. Schumann here from the party, and I'm happy to see you in the red. It's very pleasing to see you in the red. That's what the PPP is, the umbrella party for everyone. People see the longevity of our ideas. So the third thing I want to talk about, the president touched on it. The president mentioned about the changes. So long before oil and gas, we had transformed this country. We've taken it from a bankruptcy and we moved it to the most viable and fastest growing economy in this region before oil and gas. And we made a commitment that the discipline that we had to display in bringing a bankrupt country back to viability. The same fiscal discipline will characterize all of our dealings with the oil and gas sector. Today, we hear a lot of people talking about the framework. In 2.5
This guy he's making absolutely no sense, none whatsoever. So Schumann is there. I'm sure if Schumann is there with his beer short on, with probably nothing else under there, no wonder why he recognized Schumann. And these are guys who are supposed to be independent in parliament and all these manner of things. But remember, Schumann's time comes to an end pretty soon. The other guys, the other party that they coalesce with, need that seat. So Schumann needs to go somewhere else, and he needs to continue with the political prostituting that he has been doing. And so he wants a space. So when he's no longer a member of parliament, he wants to ensure that he gets some sort of position. So right now, he's out there prostituting himself. The right place to be recognized with just a t-shirt on, a hot red. Ooh. And this guy can't even pronounce the word umbrella. Umbrella. This is the party with umbrella. He can't even speak. Emma is looking at me. Umbrella. These guys make no sense. But we still can't sit down and say they're making no sense. They've got to be countered. And this is what the opposition should be doing. Swift reaction to what these guys, I don't know. What else is he saying? That nothing he's saying that makes sense. Before we get back to him, sorry, I sometimes get mixed up, Do forgive me, guys. So let me put this booklet down, this thick booklet with all of the rigging that they did. And that's why they don't want the elections petitions to be heard, right? Now, what else this guy spoke about? We could talk about the corruption at GPL. We could talk about the corruption at NCN. We could talk about the corruption, the massive corruption all across the board. We can talk about these things. So he has no moral authority to stand there to talk about corruption, about anything, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. What about the drug lords? What about the phantom squads? What about the death squads? What about the ministers who have had their visas revoked from Gadraj to Rohi to Irfan Ali, who was blocked from going to Canada? Let us talk about that high level, that massive corruption. 4 years or 5 years, of which 3 under the coalition, it wasn't easy to repair that damage, It wasn't easy to repair that damage at all. Under a regime that refused to sign the money laundering bill because their friends and cronies were laundering monies, drugs. Drugs have been rampant in Guyana, throughout Guyana. Drugs in lumber, cocaine in lumber, cocaine in Polari, cocaine in shrimps, cocaine in fudge, cocaine in mitai, all these manner of things. Talk about that economy. Talk about that. Don't waste. And speaking of cocaine and Polari, oh yes.
Yeah, you already know what I want. Let me go. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Yeah. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Yeah. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Yeah. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Wrong Polari, tiny Polari, fat Polari, born Polari, any Polari, I eat same Polari. Gal, you gotta make 'em good, run it up and fry 'em. Gal, you gotta make 'em good, put some sour pan 'em. Gal, you gotta make 'em good, you know I really want 'em. Even if it's for a gal, let me eat 'em. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Yeah. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Yeah. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Yeah. Give me Polari, I want Polari.
Cocaine in every single thing. I noticed somebody said cocaine in cocaine. Cocaine in everything. You gotta pull down, cocaine in it too. Behind, cocaine in it too. Every single thing. under the PPP regime. Under the PPP regime, the coalition tried to repair that damage. The coalition tried to repair every single thing. Every week under the PPP, every week, mother and baby dying at the hospitals, whether Linden Hospital, Georgetown Hospital, New Amsterdam Hospital, Skeldon Hospital, Maybee Curie Hospital, Bartica Hospital, Lethem, every single day. It was frustration, there was death, there was blood rolling across, streaming across Guyana under the PPP. And maybe that's what he meant when he says the red signifies blood under the PPP. And they know it. This hooligan knows it. And yet they stand there to talk about what? Talk about democracy, to talk about the opposition. The opposition could stand up and talk for themselves. I don't know why some of these guys in the opposition are like pussycats, afraid to talk about themselves and to defend themselves and to defend their parties. But like Jack Day said, parties. You sound like he's saying parties, right? These guys got to stand up and defend themselves too. Now, he mentioned this guy is all over the place. He's talking about in the 60s. A lot of us weren't even born in the 60s, the 50s. We're products of the 70s, the 1970s. That's at least I'm a product of the 1970s, right? You're telling me about the 60s, who was CIA, who wasn't CIA. And this guy is paranoid when it comes to CIA. And I wonder why. Maybe one day they will grab him. They will put bangles on him. Maybe they'll ask him whether he has a bank account in China. Let's go back. Let's hear the lie. The lies and more lies.
You know, people are proud. And we managed as a party to put together some hampers for people. And they don't want to come out and collect it because they got a sense of pride, but they needed it in that period. And some of our people used to take a lot of pictures and posted it. And we said as a party, stop doing that. Let's just help people on the ground to get over the 5 years so we can return and change people's lives again. And that is what we're doing here. So they shut down the sugar industry, sold out the equipment at Wales, and we have managed in this county to rehire half of the people that they laid off.
That is not true. That is not true. Billions. You see, this guy is lying and lying and lying and lying and lying. They have stolen billions of dollars from Gaisuco. Billions that should have gone to the sugar workers. If you check those who were running the sugar industry from the chairman, a guy named Dr. Raj Singh from Unity Village, maybe a friend or a relative of Jack Dio, check out his salary every month. Millions of dollars, billions of dollars wasted. They ran down the sugar industry. And when the coalition got into office, because the coalition wanted to be nice, and they had to find a way in order to pacify the sugar workers, because it was the PPP that destroyed these people, destroyed the sugar workers, destroyed the sugar estates, and they were lying to the people while they were pushing billions of dollars into Gaisuco, where their friends and cronies were benefiting. You had Raj Singh there, and then you had Donald Ramatar before he became president. He was a director at Gaisuco. All their friends and cronies were director at Gaisuco. And let us not forget what this guy Tony Vera said recently, as they were fighting, as they put now this what is it? Acting CEO by the name of you know his name, right? When Tony Vera said that the corruption that's going on right there over the bids and who should get money and all these sort of things. Right now at Gaisuco, massive corruption. Because they give the positions to their friends and their cronies. They don't give a damn about the ordinary working class, the sugar workers. They just don't give a damn about the sugar workers. They have killed the sugar industry. But when the coalition got into office, the coalition had to rescue them. They had to find a plan. They had to find other jobs to the sugar workers. They had to give the sugar workers land. They had to ensure that sugar workers and others, their children, got that opportunity to go to school, whether by bus, whether by boats, whether by bicycles, or whatever. It was the coalition who had to do that. and to give the sugar industry every single month. They give them billions of dollars whilst other industries starved. The bauxite workers starved. Other folks starved because the PPP left the sugar industry at the PPP left the sugar industry in the intensive care unit. That is what happened. These guys are lying and lying and lying, and we cannot sit by and allow these people to lie. They do not mean well. They cannot govern Guyana. They have had their 20-something years to do that, plus this almost 3 years to do it. And look what we see around the country. Misery. They're not talking about the 50,000 jobs. 50,000 jobs. They couldn't even get. Pardon me? Okay. Say what? Okay, just don't ask mom. All right, I'll be. Yep, sorry about that, guys. It happens when we have little kids, right? And we should not ignore them when they have a question. So my apologies. So let's head back. They couldn't find jobs. 3,000 jobs. Donald Ramatari in 2011 promised the people of Linden 3,000 jobs. The people of Linden are still waiting for 300, but instead they got 3 caskets, 3 coffins, where they murdered people, they shot people in Linden. That is what they gave the people of Linden. And now, guess what? Wasn't it these people who spoke about 50,000 jobs? Where are those jobs? 50,000 jobs? They can't even find 5,000 jobs to people. All they're finding is part-time jobs where they're giving their friends and cronies who own businesses could submit invoices that they're paying 40,000 for part-time workers. Is this a regime that has a vision for Guyana? Absolutely not. Shame on the PPP.
Not anybody, until the PPP returned and started a housing program that led to one of the biggest dynamisms in the country. In Amelia's ward, in Linden, in Block 22, all of these are new housing schemes we started all across Guyana. So ordinary Afro-Guyanese have never been the beneficiaries.
We hear the lies. Did you hear this guy that they have started Amelia's Ward housing scheme? Amelia's Ward housing scheme has been there longer than this Lagu Bagu ever thought of getting into. Amelia's Ward and those other housing schemes, they have been there. But this is not what they did. They tried to move their friends and cronies into Linden so that they can do this to people.
These people have no conscience. No conscience they don't have. None.
None whatsoever. This guy knows Amelia's Ward. Does he know the history of Amelia's Ward? Does he know Linden? Does he know the history of Linden? Does he know Wizrock and all these different areas and those housing schemes? Somebody tell this Lagu Bagu. Tell him. But look what they do to the people of Linden, right? Look. They just don't care about the people. They just don't. The evidence is there. And we haven't even touched. Mocha. We haven't even touched in terms of the housing scheme and their history of denying people a piece of house lot, where people had to wait 15 and 20 years. Now, the coalition wasn't perfect, but the coalition tried to correct the applications, folks who have applied for 15 and 20 years house lots. And when they got a piece of house lots under the PPP regime, they had no proper infrastructure. It was a mud swamp that these people had to go, and they couldn't put on their homes. They couldn't do anything. Nothing at all. This guy is shameless. This guy not get shame. Seriously, this vagabond doesn't have any shame at all. They don't mean anything as to any progress. They don't mean unity or nothing. And we haven't touched on the e-ID card as yet. And some German company that has been contracted to do it through, that Mercury. So it's a lot of corruption that is happening where the boys getting money for what they have done. And the ordinary people, whether they're right there at Babujan, whether they're right there from Tain, whether they're right there from Letterkenny, Bloomfield, Klein, Alness, Manchester, Wim, Lancaster, Liverpool, Big Alness, and these places, they're not benefiting from it. And if we go to Wim and we go back, after Wim, you get Klein, you get Letterkenny, you get Bloomfield, and so forth. And then we go past Portman, you get Mississippi, then you get Rosal, and then after that you get what? You get Hampshire, you get Belvedere, you get Albion, and you get these places, and even Firish and so forth. These people are not benefiting anything. Let's talk about that area. You pass Firish side, then you go down Court side, and then places there, right? 19 road, the number 19 road, that long stretch of road, accidents upon accidents every single month. People have lost their lives and so forth. For 20-something years, the PPP never thought of doing anything there at all. But you know what? The coalition got into office, and I oftentimes say the coalition wasn't perfect, but they had a lot of cleaning up to do because of these political criminals. But the coalition got in there, and you check along the 19 highway going all down straight over to Palmyra and so forth, all the way down to the bridge, lights that people never had at number 19. I don't know if a lot of you remember number 19 toll station, and when they had a police outpost and these sort of things, lights there. But guess what? Guess what Jack Dale and them did? And we talking about economic development and so forth. There wasn't any under the PPP. None whatsoever unless you were a drug lord. But let us look at the people of New Amsterdam, the people of Kanji area, by the Kanji Bridge as you drive over there, Shitanka and so forth, and you go into New Amsterdam. It was flourishing. New Amsterdam was like a little New York. Guess who killed the tongue of New Amsterdam? Sorry about that. Guess who killed it? It wasn't the PNC, it wasn't the AFC, it wasn't the coalition or whomever, it was the PPP. Because where this bridge right now that's called Jack Dale's Passage, that Jack Dale took hundreds of millions of dollars, taxpayers' money, people who would have worked their hard-earned money, and those employers who ensured that they contributed to NIS. It took hundreds of millions of dollars, give it to his friends and cronies in the private sector to build the Berbice River Bridge for a cost that double the actual cost at the mouth of the river, the mouth of the Berbice River. Engineers were saying to this Lagu Bagu, don't put the bridge at the mouth of the Berbice River. It's longer and it's more expensive. But maybe he has his own personal reasons why he wanted a longer bridge. It cost more. It simply means more money, more corruption for that longer bridge. They're advised by sensible engineers, take the bridge over to the lower part of New Amsterdam, Stanley Tongue area, run it through Stanley Tongue area. But no, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do that because the bridge would have been shorter, and he doesn't want short bridge. He didn't want that because of the corruption. And so he put that now at the mouth of the Berbice River Bridge. And so when you cross from the western side going onto the eastern side, you get Palmyra and all that stretch of land. Find out who they have given that stretch of land to. People got put on gas station, they got put on hospital, they got put on all manner of things. But yet this is a guy who's talking about unity. Check. And check the sort of homes, the small huts, the lodges that they have built for people now in 2023. and selling it to people for $5 and $6 million. These guys would never even live in such a place. They wouldn't even give such a place to one of their concubines or little boys, or what. They wouldn't even give, but yet they want their ordinary folks must live under those conditions. Now let's go back to hear what Auntie Morla is saying. Lies, lies, lies.
For freedom in this country. You can't replace that. You could come after it, but you can't replace it. And it is that political consciousness that led to the fight for independence. The fact that independence was not given to Guyana under the PPP is well documented, and the reasons why, because they did not want Chetty Jagan to come into power. He was too independent-minded and not focused on...
That is not true. That is not true. They didn't want that as a result of communism. Communism was rampant back then. And the Americans and the British and others were concerned that Guyana would have become a little Cuba, where all the rights of the people would have been infringed. There would have been no constitution. There would have been nothing. It would have been the one Guyana that maybe the PPP secretly spoke about back then. That's the reason. It's not that they did dislike Chetty because of his race or whatever. It is because Guyana would have become a little Cuba, a communist state, where we would not have had our rights and so forth. And that was the real reason. So tell the people the truth. The fact of the matter is that Chetty, along with Forbes Burnham, because when Chetty returned from the U.S. after finishing his dentistry degree at Howard University, and Burnham finished with his degree, LLB, I believe it was, from the University, London University of Economics, I believe it is, right? So here they all returned. They were young men. They were fighting to liberate Guyana. All of them were fighting, including Hubert Nathaniel Critchlow. Everyone, no one particular person, but people saw Chetty and Burnham as leaders. Burnham now formed a political party through the British Guyana Union or something like that, mind you. And then Chetty started with his little group. They merged, and that is where the PPP came around. Burnham was a co-founder of the PPP, he and Chetty. They're not going to tell people that. They're not going to tell people that Burnham and Chetty fell apart. And most of the Indian guys in Guyana went with Burnham. They're not going to tell people that. And for almost 1 year, there was a Burnham faction of the PPP and a Chetty faction of the PPP. And Burnham decided to rename his faction from PPP, the People's National Congress. And then they went on to fight the colonial masters in order to have an independent Guyana. But in order to have an independent Guyana, it had to have been done in a proper way, where you know that it was in the hands of someone who would take the country in the direction that it should go, not in a communist way. They didn't trust Chetty because of his beliefs in communism. That is what it was. But this Lagu Bagu is not going to tell people the truth. He doesn't want people to hear the truth. And so if you check on their flyers, they're going to say the founder, Chetty Jagan, the founder of the PPP. He never founded the PPP. They should put Burnham there as well. And then they're going to want to let people know that Chetty Jagan is the founding father of Guyana. Lies, lies, lies. All lies. All lies. All of them, yes, played a part, including Burnham, including Chetty, including Winifred Gaskin, including all of those fighters, Hubert Nathaniel Critchlow, including Joseph Polidor, and lots of people who have played a major role in ensuring that we see the backs of the colonial masters. But no, Chetty is the only hero to these guys. And nothing is wrong with them holding on and say Chetty is their hero. What about Burnham? You can't put a billboard out there with Chetty, with this false narrative that Chetty is the founding father. They're misleading and misguiding our young people in that country. Hope the PNC, they're taking note. Because if they in the PNC don't take note, I'm going to have a billboard up there with my photograph and everything to say that Mark Benchop is the founding father of Guyana. I will have a billboard with that. Or I may have a billboard with, who else? Chisel Chipper is the founding father. Or Frank James is the founding father. You know? Or when Don Cook is the founding father. Or Don Sampson is the founding mother. We should do that because these people have no shame in their game. None whatsoever. Or Desiree Simons, founding mother of Guyana. Or Brenda, founding mother of Guyana. Well, we might as well do that, right? Because Mark Benchop, that sounds good. Founding father of Guyana. These people have no shame. None. And look how she, look how he is. I'm sorry. Let's go back. Let's hear the lies again, man. Let's hear some more lies.
And standards, because healthcare is important for us. You've seen a resurgence of the housing program. In all the years, they said, the 5 years, they said they gave out 7,000 house lots. It's more like 2,000 in 5 years. We have said 50,000 house lots in the 5 years, and we're on track to deliver that. When we were hit with the unprecedented cost of living increases that because of COVID that led to protests around the world, we didn't sit on our hands. We started saying, how can we help people? How can we
help people? That wasn't helping people. That was helping themselves with corruption upon corruption with the Sputnik vaccine. He's not going to tell people that to this day, they cannot reveal the source of the Sputnik vaccine and whether it was counterfeit. They can't. But hundreds of people died as a result of the negligence of the corrupt PPP regime, the negligence of these people, these vagabonds, but yet they have the audacity to talk about the healthcare sector that they destroyed. Look at how many mothers, expectant mothers and so forth, are dying at the hospitals now. This is not propaganda. It happens. Look at them. The health sector, they have a minister. They have a pharma health minister who's an advisor. They have another pharma health minister who's an advisor. They have another doctor, 3 advisors. In fact, 4 ministers of health. But yet they can't get it right. These guys just can't get it right. Gosh, on a Sunday afternoon when we should be out at the park, we should be out somewhere, we should probably, something we should be doing. Something we should be doing. But look, here it is. We gotta basically counter the lies of these vagabonds. We've got to counter their lies. But look, here is what I wanted. Here's what I wanted. I'm going to, because I'm just getting tired of these guys, right? I'm just getting tired of these guys. I don't know about you guys. I want to play something for you guys shortly. And just to expose them a little more. Just give me about 30 seconds.
Fertilizer, pesticides, almost everything. Increased drainage and irrigation charges. On a tractor combined, they put a 14% VAT. No help to the industry. We came in office, we changed all of this. When the fertilizer prices jumped up because of an increase in the fuel, crude oil, from which fertilizer is made, we decided to give some free fertilizer. So we go on the Essequibo coast recently, and I saw the Minister of Agriculture going there, and then a few, maybe about 6 or 7 rice farmers.
Maybe
none of them,
right,
when I look at
maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujarong?
So my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place. Yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes. Yes. He is a friend of ours. His father was here from many years ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he lives next door to you.
Yes.
You know, he was able to arrange meetings and catch-ups with you at any point in the day. He claims
as a friend, yeah.
He claims that through his very close relationship with you, that he's able to get any deal done.
Well, I don't know if that's
able to change laws for investors.
But then which law has been changed for any
So
investor?
Sue told us that if you want to get anything done,
Lies, 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 lies on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, right? The lies upon lies upon lies upon. But this is a guy who's talking all these things that they've done, all these things that they've done, and poor people and working class, and all these manner of things, right? All these manner of things. All these manner of things. I want you to listen to this guy. This guy that went out there, campaigned with the PPP, did all sort of things with the PPP, all manner of things he did with the PPP, all sort of things he did with the PPP. He guard ballot boxes, he was, all these things he did for the PPP. And whilst he working and campaigning for them, he broke his foot. He met up in an accident, he broke up his foot, he all sort of things. Listen to him today. Listen to him today and understand what sort of PPP you guys are talking about. This is a guy who's saying that they care. Who do they care about? Listen how they treat their own people. Well, when I say their own people, you'll see this guy. You'll see him. They dumped him aside. They kicked him aside. They have no usage for him. And those who look like him, y'all listen to him carefully.
I'm 58 years of age, and right now I'm in desperately need of help. As you can see, the condition I'm living under right now. Now, I'm not the kind of person that would sit down and depend on nobody for help or so on. But I'm desperately right now in need. This is the reason why I'm asking. Now, in 2020, I get in an accident, and my condition is very serious because, as you can see, this one hand here is not working, and this left foot here right now. I spent so much money for medical. This foot here was off. I spent so much money for medical, over $4-5 million for medical. Went to Suriname with my money I had and everything. I get no help, and it's really hard. I have 10 children, and so far 8 live with me. Now, I in this condition since 2020, the 8th of June, and I'm desperately need somebody out there, the business entity, any organization, any group, or anybody that see my problem right now. If you could please help with assistance of my condition and my home. Now I need to finish off build my home as you can see it. Right? I have an estimated it come up really by as like $2.5 million it come up to. Right? This with this between this and the workmanship. This is the contract they give to me. And this house built in 2020, and the materials that I built is about it already rotten. It rotten out, all the flooring rotten out. And I desperately need help. You see, I don't want to bother nobody. And people feel that they're bothering them because they think about my condition. I cannot help myself properly right now. If I get job, if I get a proper work, I can help myself. I don't have to ask or beg. But right now, I'm not working and need help. And I need somebody in the government, the business entity, Mr. Azadi Mohammed, or anybody who seeing this video, if you could please give out assistance to my help. My children also need help. I have my son who go to school for 3 years. And as you can see, by not working, my daughter, she ready to go to school and she can't go to school. My little son need to go to school, he can't go to school. My other daughter is 15, she had job to school. My other one is 13, she can't go to work now because I'm not getting money to.
All right. I'm not gonna get into some other stuff in terms of this guy now talking about his kids need to go to school and all these sort of things. I'm not going to get into that because in 2019 there was a different story when there were complaints that he actually wasn't sending his kids them to school. But that's a different story. This is not going to be my position to embarrass him. But I just want to make this clear. There's a guy who's in 2023, a couple of days ago, crying out for help. He's pleading for help. Nobody. He's now saying he's calling all sorts of people named for help you. But you can see how quick they're going to rush down to help you for look good now. This is the same guy. He's guarding. What is he guarding? He's guarding ballot box and he's guarding this and he's part of, guardian of democracy and these manner of things. And he got into an accident and you should hear him cussing out the coalition, that them in this and them in that and all manner of things. And you heard him for yourself. This is not propaganda. You guys heard him. Nobody's helping him. Nobody's doing anything for him. Nothing. 2023. The same PPP that they claim is a caring PPP. Maybe they should say scaring PPP. Because that's who they are. They're not about the people. And so this guy, Orrin Kennedy is a perfect example as how they dash him. They dash him in a corner. They want nothing to do with him. And so a couple of days ago, he had to go out there. And basically he made that video. Oh, I know Orrin. But this is exactly, and I want some of those guys who look like Orrin that live in Linden and brainwashing some of the people there in Linden and I want them to listen to Orrin. Y'all heard Orrin. They don't care about Orrin. They may give Orrin nothing because Orrin done, you see, stand up there, he say garden, he garden ballot boxes and all these things, he garden containers. The PPP doesn't care about these folks. And again, I want those folks out in Linden to understand what's happening. Remember, it was Jack there who said recently he wants to capture, he'd behave like a slave catcher, right? Like a slave catcher. He wants to capture. He wants to capture New Amsterdam and Linden and George. He wants to capture. He's a slave catcher. So he wants to capture, right? Sorry that I'm sounding like that. He wants to capture. But look, hold on. I ain't done with this guy yet. I ain't done with he. I want y'all hear what else he had to say. Right? I want y'all hear what else he had to say. Before he actually made this particular, that video that you guys heard, right? I want y'all hear something else. And then you can get into the mindset of some of these people. Let me see. Let me get your comments, please. Do you guys want to hear what else he had to say? A couple of years ago. Yeah, I saw him standing there, right? Now, this is not to embarrass Orrin Kennedy. It is not to embarrass him, but I want him to open his eyes and to understand how he was used by the PPP. He was used. I know Orrin. I've seen him around. I believe he used to change money on America Street and so forth. This is not to embarrass you, Orrin. But Orrin, you need to understand that these people don't give a rat's about you and your condition because they're done with you. But 2 years ago, let's go back to Orrin, right? Let's go right back to Orrin. And I want those guys out in Linden to listen a little bit. I want them to listen. Orrin, a couple of years ago, compared to Orrin that you heard just now, saying nobody do nothing for you. Nothing. Them and do for you. And begging on people to reach out and help him. This is the same Orrin. Oh, Orrin.
Infant Ali and Vice President Mr. Bar Jagdio.
Was Jagdio calling?
The people in Tocqueville glad to see you wrong and Festival City. We're glad if you could come wrong. But Mr. President, the people love how things going so far in the country. I myself still love how things going so far in the country. You understand? I understand how much days I can't recall how much days, but you are doing great work. Keep up the great work you are doing. You understand? Keep up the great works you are doing. There's you can't complain, but things are going great. You understand?
Let's pause for a minute. This was when Oren got into the accident and so forth. And they turned their backs on him. 100 and something days. 100 and something days. And he's praising them. This is him. He was guarding ballot boxes or containers and all these things, guardian of democracy. They may get time to give you no contracts. They may get time with no healthcare system. They may get time to fix his foot. They may get time to fix nothing. They may get time to see that the kids them going to school. But then again, in 2019, he had problems with not sending his kids them to school. So he's talking about that now that he's unable to send them to school. All these problems, and they can't reach out. They can't help him at all. So he's jumping on a mountaintop now, asking for help. Again, I want to make this point clear. This is not to embarrass Oren. It is to show the others who are like Oren. Some of them are in Linden. Some of them are in Linden and other parts of Georgetown and the East Coast and so forth. Do not be fooled, because something were to happen to you guys today, the PPP wouldn't give a rat's about you guys. None. So take what is happening to Oren and what has happened to so many other folks, that the PPP, once you look like Oren, and some don't have to look like Oren, they don't give a damn about the working class or people like Oren. Oren, let me hear some more what you had to say then.
All people need right now is jobs and more jobs to put food on the family table. Mr. President, if you get this video, please come to Tocqueville and Festival City. I'm asking you, begging you to come. Tocqueville and Festival City. The people in Tocqueville and Festival City were glad to see y'all. We're glad to see y'all. So, I know you are doing great things in this country. Others know who know what talk. Who want to talk, the hell is them. But we know you are doing good. You understand? People can't complain. And come 2021, Guyana can be a more prosperous country on the infant Ali and Barjagdio and his team. It will be more prosperous. And we know that Guyana going to prosper. Thank God. However, things may not so bright now, but things will get better in the future to come. We are looking forward to the visit. A lot of people coming to me and begging me and asking me, why is it nobody not coming to Tocqueville? Nobody never coming to Tocqueville. No president, nobody never come to Tocqueville. But I told them that this government is a government with a big difference. They will come. There's a big difference, and people will see the difference in this PP government. There's a change PP government. There's a prosperous PP government. There's an uplifting PP government, and the people in Ghana will be prosperous and be uplifted by the PP government. And nobody can take it to the bank. Nobody can stop it. Regardless of what the critics may talk about y'all, continue our good works. Don't fail your people. Continue our good works. This president and his ministers is for everybody, not for one body alone. It's for everybody. And we've seen it. It's for everybody, all Guyanese in all walks of life. So they can't stop it. Thank you. Good night. And God bless. God bless Mr. Infant Ali Barjagio and his cabinet. And God bless Guyana. Thank you.
All right, let's get your take on what he just said there. Let's get your take on what he just said there and the mindset. The same guy now that nothing, 2-3 years now, nothing the PPP did for him. Absolutely nothing. Some of you might be wondering what's happening now at Babu Jan. They're done talk, and a couple hundred people are getting ready to get out of there. A couple hundred people. When Chetty was alive, it used to be a heck of a lot of people. And they're going to spread their propaganda here now about, unity. But we can see one or two. Let me see. I can count. You know who I'm counting, right? 1, 2. Most of the people that we're seeing are actually security guards or security agents for them there. The rest, just 1 or 2. And you know what I mean by 1 or 2, right? 1 or 2. That's what it is. 1 or 2. Now let's get back to Oren. Let's get back to Oren so that you guys can see exactly. And I need your opinion because we're not going to stay all afternoon. I need your opinion on what's going on with this guy as we try to get the most recent video that he made. The most recent video that he made. We're going to get right back to that. We're going to start right over so you guys can hear what's happening.
Kennedy. I'm 58 years of age. And right now, I'm in desperately need of help. As you can see, the condition I'm living under right now. Now, I'm not the kind of person that would sit down and depend on nobody for help or so on. But I'm desperately right now in need. This is the reason why I'm asking. Now, in 2020, I get in an accident. And my condition is very serious because, as you can see, this one hand here is not working. And this left foot here right now, I spent so much money for medical. This foot here was off. I spent so much money for medical, over $4-5 million for medical. Went to Suriname with my money I had and everything. I get no help, and it's really hard. I have 10 children. And so far, 8 live with me. Now, I'm in this condition since 2020, the 8th of June. And I'm desperately need somebody out there, the business entity, any organization, any group, or anybody that see my problem right now. If you could please help with assistance of my condition and my home. Now I need to finish off build my home as you can see it. Right? I have an estimated it come up really by as like $2.5 million it come up to. Right? This between this and the workmanship. This is the contract they give to me. And this house built in 2020, and the materials that I built is about it already rotten. It rotten out, all the flooring rotten out. And I desperately need help.
All right.
You see, I don't want to bother no.
With us, Oren Kennedy. Oren, good afternoon and welcome to 107.1 FM. What's going on? I saw your video. You're asking for help. What's happening with you?
Man, I get an accident since 2020. Where my one side, my foot break up, foot hanging off, and the one hand is not working. I'm not perfectly in order in shape. That was bad. And I do my house. Hello, I'm on the phone. Hello, I'm on the phone. Please, pull up your advice down. Yes, right. And my foot on my hands, right. So right now I'm trying every set I got. I try to do my house and everything, and everything is falling apart because, for instance, Mark, I spent that money for myself. You everything over $5 million for myself, and I left broke. I have no money. Look after my health, and I ain't get fixed yet.
Wow. I heard you said you went to Suriname recently too?
Yeah. So you won't come back here for a month now. I spent 3 months in Suriname. No, I go to the hospital, money not refundable. can't get no help there because I'm a foot on my half fixed property. So no help, Mark, no help. I got my train them. I going to school. Train them going to school, and you know, and this kind of thing, right?
I got you. Aaron, while some folks might say, well, look, well, you know, I did mention the fact that I know you and we know each other, right? And I think you used to exchange money, I think, on America Street. Is that many years ago. And this is not a position to laugh at your situation. I wouldn't do that. You know, I know you for many years. But the fact that during the elections time, you stood up and you stood there with the PPP. Why is it that these guys are not giving you a helping hand at all?
They wanted me, right? In 2015, right? I was a PNC for years, right? And one I know from the army. And I fought with them, you know, and they promised me a lot of things. I buy a house in Pashat Nakar. And I lose it, my house and my car. And I go to Harmon and Greater can't see nobody helping me, but they not for me. So it's coming after the same thing come again. So these things is fast-switted mood. You understand? If you fast-switted mood, people do nothing for you. You do it for them and nobody do nothing for you.
I got you. Which is the same thing now, because you did for the PPP and none of them doing anything for you now. How does that make you feel, Oren?
Well, in a sense, I feel washed out because the whole problem is that my own people and the other side, everybody, you know, me just don't arms for you, you know, and you left like a washed out, you know, like a boat without no bottom, you know.
I feel your pain indeed. A boat without bottom. But continue.
Yeah. So, you know, so it's real hard to me, you know, me and my family, you know. So it's a situation that you know that I desperate and captain measures that I really need help right now because you see, my house I have a big yard here in Southfield. Right? And I want to, I'm like glad if I could open a business in Southfield here. But I won't have to, you know, going through this thing. I'm not a man like begging, man. You know, though. I don't like begging nobody for nothing. You know? I don't, but I can't work. My situation, I can't even work. I can't do nothing myself for myself. If you see this video, you can see me walking. I hold my hand flinging. Because the hand can't walk. They said the plex, make a plex out. And they said it's some toxic candle. Fix your hand, that kind of thing, you know, meaning these things. My glass, I get fixed up.
I understand your sentiments, understand your feeling, and hope somebody would, especially because you know what's the painful part is I'm looking at a photo that you were standing up guarding, was it ballot boxes for these people?
Yeah.
Was it ballot boxes or what, container?
Yeah, ballot boxes. Yeah, no, the container and so on.
The container, yes. All of these things. Yeah. Do you feel that you've been deceived by these politicians who are only out there to use people? Because it's
Politics is a whole demon trick. You hear?
Yes, sir.
As a man has listened to a lot of music, and especially country music, and all the politicians pick you, they get a gate, when they get a gate, they kick you. All politicians do that. And it's very hard to get the people when you do these things, people. I don't have to there's a God out there. And we all have to face him, and we all have to pay for a wrong and doing something what we do. In my situation, you feel I should be fit very better and treating good. But if you come see my house right now, you will see me. Right in the right now, right?
Yeah, I'm out of Guyana at the moment. Yeah.
Right. But if you get in Guyana here now, you come to see my house right now, the situation with him. Right? You're gonna know, well, you know, which you never have a chance to go to school. I don't have no right now to school. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's 6 of them are going to school right now. You know? I got a son who goes to school 3 years. The other two last one was supposed to go to school. One can go to kindergarten. one of them going to kindergarten, you know, the one for kindergarten, I can't send them because financial situation, I'm stressed. I'm really totally stressed.
What message? And I am going to try, RN, to arrange some school items for your kids them as early as possible, because I'm big on that. And to me, kids are very important. So I will try to arrange some material for your kids them, whether books, pencils, bags, or whatever. How many kids you said that are in need of those things?
6 of them.
6 of them. What message do you have for people who are listening to this program right now, who will fall prey to the politicians them, that they run after these politicians, and the politicians in the end don't give a damn about them? What message do you have for people?
Well, the message is there's a lot of people out there, right? You got to be careful like what you're doing and you know, man, because the only politician the guy is God. The only true support you can trust is God. You understand? Trust man like yourself, they feel you. So what I like to say, that people trust in God and let God play his part for us. You know, and don't worry, man, because the laws of man is different and messed up and destructive. You understand? Messed up and destructive.
Got you, RN. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so you know, people gotta be careful, you know, in ways to go about and doing things and so on, because in the end of the day, you're holding the end of the rope.
And right now you're holding that end of the rope that you should not have been. Yeah. RN, thank you so much for your time. I'll keep in touch with you so that I can get some stuff for your kids them in terms of school items and so forth, because those kids have to go to school, and whatever it is that I can do at my end, I will get that done. And again, this is not a situation to laugh at you that, oh, the PPP used you, oh, these politicians, this, and they have no time. This is not about that at all. It's just to highlight to people as to how dangerous some politicians can be when they use people and dump them. RN, thank you so much. I hope you feel better. I'll stay in touch with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know. Yeah, sorry about that. I paused there for a quick second. Let's head back to RN, what he had to say not so long ago.
Body, and you know, people feel that they're bothering them because they think, but my condition, I cannot help myself properly right now. If I get job, if I get a proper work, I can help myself. I don't have to ask or beg. But right now, I'm not working and need help, and I need somebody in the government, the business.
All right, you've heard him there, RN. Nobody's reaching out, nobody's helping, nobody cares, and the usual thing, they don't care. And RN said that the only politician really is God. Babu John is over. It's done with. The couple hundred people are gone. Those who had to collect their little $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, they have to jump back in the bus, and they're gone. We see there what happened with RN. I want others to take note that the PPPC, especially those guys out in Linden, they get some of them in Linden, you know, with a red T-shirt and their red pants, their red bokta, whatever it is that they get, pomposetting themselves, being as gullible as they are. They've just got to look at what happened to RN. And you're going to see they're going to rush to RN. Some of them are going to get angry, but they're going to rush quickly. Maybe we'll see photos tomorrow that RN, somebody rebuilding RN's house. Somebody give RN a wheelchair. Somebody sending RN kids them to school. Just watch out for someone. And I want to call the name of a so-called businessman. Just watch them. Watch the ride, as they say in Guyana, right? Watch the ride. Watch the ride. I don't know about you guys, but it's Sunday afternoon. I got some other stuff to do. What's happening back there at Babu John? Let's take you guys back at Babu John. The lies and everything. They finished with the lies. They finished with every single thing. But we should just show you guys what is happening there at Bubu John, right? Bubu John. Look what's happening there. They're just walking around, taking a little photograph. Look at Mark Phillips. Look at Irfan Ali. Just gaffing. They should be ashamed. Not too many people went out there today. The people didn't go out. The people just didn't go out. This is shameful. The people didn't go out. They're paying people to line up to say hi quick. Look at some of these guys who, in line. A lot of them from Georgetown. Lots of them from Georgetown. They best hurry up and catch the truck quick. Either they can cut a truck or the bus or whatever. Quick, before they miss the bus. Well, guys, gotta go. Enough of these guys. The propaganda. Let's see what Ramjatan and these guys in the AFC gonna say. Let's hear what the PNC guys are gonna say. I don't know what they're gonna say. You guys think they're gonna say anything, or they're gonna just say, forget about them? That's what they usually say, right? They usually take a lot of things for granted. They usually somebody asking me, what about 1,000? What 1,000? A couple of hundred, Thomas. A couple of hundred people went out there. A couple of hundred. The evidence is there. They don't want to show the crowd, Ian. They just don't want to show the crowd. They're not going to show the crowd. They're not going to do that. But you're going to see the picture. When they take picture, it will look as though somebody's asking who the people in blue are the security guys then. Most of them are the same guys they love to call Hungry Belly, but look who are the security guys them. Look who are the security guys them. Thank you guys so much, man. It's been a pleasure. All of you. It's been a pleasure. And I await if the coalition, if the PNC, if the AFC, if they're going to have a rebuttal to some of the nonsense that Jack Gill and Irfan, they said, while Irfan suddenly looking at some man. He's suddenly looking at some man in the mirror. Look at the crowd. Oh, gosh. Look at people there. And the girl in the white pants dancing. Let me go. Let me see what she's dancing to. Come on. Let's go. Dance, girl. Dance. Charlie guy. Oh, Charlie guy. All right, so as we prepare to wrap up here now, maybe we should let's get a view from an individual, whether that person wants to give his view about what transpired there. We're still live on the air. I call her. What's your take on what transpired there at Babu John?
Disgraced all the Guyanese people. And I'm so happy that the Indians were there in their numbers to see the lie and listen to the lies. If you observe something, they were not even clapping. That's a show all the lies has been unraveled. And it's time for Jack Deal and Ali to pack their bags and leave before it's too late. Because the lights is already off.
Thank you. The lights all. Thank you, sir. The lights already off. The lights already off. I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. Tired of the lies of these vagabonds. Look, I'm gonna go. I gotta go because I gotta go, and I'm going and look into the mirror I want to find out what mirror this guy is. Somebody should get a cartoon with Irfan Ali looking into the mirror, but he's seeing massive corruption and Dracula or something. Corruption upon corruption, right? That's what it's about. Look, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. Beautiful Guyana, right?
Guyana, really nice. Guyana, it's a nice place.
Oh my God, oh my God. Gal, you already know what I want. Let me go. Give me Polari, I want Polari. Give me.
Well, that sums everything up. My name is Mark Benchap. Until we meet again, hopefully sometime tomorrow morning or midday or in the evening, or if something pops up back sometime today, you never know. You'll be hearing from us right here on 107.1 FM. My name is Mark Benchap, reporting live from Babujan. From Babujan. Chelly must be turning in his grave, man. Chelly has got to be turning in his grave. I'm out of here. God bless you. So long.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Source.
Okay, well,
Maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jerome?
Su.